What's up everybody, Garrett back here, and I just got out of seeing the brand new A24 horror movie, Talk to Me. Now, Talk to Me was put out by actually two YouTubers, the Filippo brothers, who do a lot of little shorts and stuff like that on their page, and this is their directorial debut movie, a horror movie. I guess it's very different than their normal YouTube style stuff. I've never watched them per se, so when I saw the trailer of this movie, I was like, wow, this looks like something I really would dig. It seemed to revolve around a game. They had this embalmed hand, and I guess when you shake it and you say, talk to me, you can see spirits and ghosts. Now, was the idea of having an object that you could see ghosts and spirits something new? No, but it seemed like a cool little twist on that, where it was involving a game at like a party or something like that. I thought that was just very interesting, something that really interested me. So I was like really getting excited for this, and I started to see things come out saying it was one of the scariest movies since Hereditary, which I am a huge fan of. So I knew I definitely wanted to check this out. It was actually one of my most anticipated movies of 2023. Now again, a lot of times I go into movies with zero expectations because 9 times out of 10, I just find myself kind of disappointed if I go in with high expectations. But with this one, I did kind of have some high expectations going in because it seemed very original and not just some kind of remake or requel that we're used to getting. Now, I will say this, as a whole, I like this movie a lot. I really did. I think that this had a lot of creep factor to it. I think there was a lot of gross out moments. There was a lot of suspense and tension and anxiety driven through this movie. And I think that it was really paced well. And the other thing I liked about it too was there was a lot of these actors and actresses in here were more relatively unknowns, which I really thought added to the story because it wasn't focused on primarily one or two people. Now, like I said before, it revolves around an embalmed hand that they come across. And another thing too is they really don't explain much about this hand, which again opens the doors for things like sequels and prequels perhaps. But I think it's pretty cool that it was a little bit more mysterious, like we didn't know enough about it, but we just kind of knew what it did. And bringing that stuff into the real world in 2023, like I said, they used it more of like a party game. And of course they had to film things with their cell phones, so it really brought it into more of a modern time. Now, a lot of times when movies do that, they bring it really into like the now. It just a lot of times doesn't work for me. I don't know if it's like an old school mentality for me, but like, for instance, I got a little nervous with this movie because I was like, oh no, if this is gonna be a little bit more like Hereditary, or is this gonna be a little more like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? And Hereditary I loved, and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies I hated. So I was a little bit nervous in the middle, like I didn't know which avenue this was gonna take. Was it gonna be really over the top and modernized? Or was it gonna kind of keep to some old school type of horror? And I felt like it did really well. It stayed right in the middle to a point where the modernization of it and these kids and these teenagers in 2023, it wasn't over the top. They kind of stayed in their lane, and it was pretty realistic. Like, hey, when these things are going on, as scary as they may be, everybody's filming it because it's almost like with phones, you get a false sense of reality. You don't realize like, hey, I'm filming this, I'm gonna post it online, but when you take your phone away and look at what's really happening, I feel a lot of times people nowadays, it's almost like they're blinded by these videos that they're posting. I mean, you look at things like TikToks and stuff, and man, a lot of times it's like accidents and people getting hurt and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wow, people are filming this instead of trying to help. And that's kind of what a weird world we live in. And it's almost like they touch upon that because the things that are happening behind that phone that they're filming as they're laughing and posting on social media is actually really terrifying. So it's really cool that they kind of maneuvered it around so you kind of see that and how people nowadays can kind of be when it comes to things like social media and tech. Like I said, it's original enough. I mean, the concept of having an object such as like Witchboard or something like that, we've seen before, but it was done very original. And like I said, there was a lot of gross moments. There was a lot of tense moments. There was gore here, and I absolutely loved it. And I think it just was paced so well. But I will say, I do feel like there was some issues with this. As much as I really loved it, and I loved the concept of it, I think there was a lot of plot holes. There was a lot of loose ends here, because when the movie ended, I was like, okay, well, what happened with this? What happened with that? What happened with this? And I'm not sure if I missed something, because I even remember, like, I just got the new Fangoria magazine looking at images and stuff, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing this image in the movie. But again, I could have missed it because honestly, this theater experience wasn't the greatest for me. It was sold out. I got there probably 10 minutes before it started, and I literally had to sit in the front row. So I was looking up like this the whole time thinking to myself, this is not gonna be a fun way to watch this movie. So maybe I missed something, but again, at the end of the movie, I kind of felt like, was there scenes cut? I feel like a lot of things weren't explained perhaps, but maybe watching other people's reviews and maybe you guys letting me know in the comments, maybe things were kind of explained and I just kind of missed it. But again, there was a specific ending. I understand why it ended that way. There were other parts of the movie that I felt like I was kind of invested in that I really didn't feel they gave a lot of detail on, like what happened, why, and I kind of left with a little bit of confusion. But again, I don't know if that was on purpose, things were deleted, maybe we're gonna get a sequel out of this, I'm not sure. But again, guys, all in all, Talk to Me is one I highly recommend you checking out, and I can't wait to see this again. And I think this was a huge showing for these brothers as far as their directorial debut. Again, this seemed like something to me that could have been coming from a more seasoned director, but all in all, this was something I highly recommend. And I'm gonna go out on the limb, and as much as there were some issues that I had with it when it came to tying up specific plot points, I'm gonna say right now, this is probably my favorite horror movie of the year. Now guys, let me know in the comments below, did you see Talk to Me? What did you think about this movie? If you haven't seen Talk to Me and my review gets you to want to see it, post down in the comments below when you're done seeing it what you thought, and do you agree with me or not? All right, gang, this is Garrett from Born to Be Rad, and like always, stay rad.